multi-step equations. Okay. So we already kind of went through the steps on how to solve equations. So now we're going to actually, instead of just doing step 4 and step 5, we're going to do all of the steps together. All right. The first thing, think of orders of operation. What's the first thing we should always do? Parentheses. So we're going to use the distributive property first. Okay. So if we see any parentheses, let's go ahead and distribute to remove them. Okay. Then the next step is to combine like terms. And again, our like terms are like 2x, 3x, 4x, 7 and 12, something like that. Okay. If they're on the same side, we're going to follow our signs. So if it says 2x plus 3x, we're going to add them. Right. If they're on different sides, we're always going to add or subtract it to the other side, and we always have to do it opposite. Okay, so if it's a plus 2x, if I need to move it to the other side of the equal sign, we're going to subtract the 2x. Okay. And then step 3, once we have the variables combined, we're going to move our constant by adding or subtracting, and we do its opposite again. So if it's plus 2, we're going to subtract 2, right? And then our coefficient, how do we move our coefficient? Division or multiplication. So divide or multiply, and we do its inverse. And then we should always check. Now, I'm not saying that you have to write out your check, but should you check all your answers? Yes. Why? To make sure you're right. You want to get the correct answer, don't you? You don't want to miss a point just because you didn't check it. Okay, so always, always, always check. All right. So let's look at step 1 here. Step 1, question 1. Do we have any parentheses? No. Do we have any like terms on the same side? Nope. Do we have any on different sides? Yeah, we kind of have the constant, right? So let's go ahead and move the constant. So what's my constant? Negative 13. So how would I move negative 13 over? I would add it. So then I'm going to left with 2.5x because negative 13 plus 13 is 0. And then what's 2 plus 13? 15. All right. Now, we have the 2.5 as a coefficient. So how do I get rid of that coefficient? Divide it. So 2.5 divided by 2.5 is? No, it's not. It's 1 or 1x, right? And then 15 divided by 2.5. You guys remember how to divide decimals? Remember, you move the decimal place 1 time. So what do I have to add in the numerator? A 0, right? If I move the decimal 1 place to the right, I have to add a 0 in the numerator, right? Now, we're taking 150 divided by 25. How many quarters make $1.50? 6. So x would equal 6. Anytime I see like 25s, I think of quarters. Okay? How many quarters make something? All right, let's look at question 5 here. Okay? Do we have any parentheses? Nope. So we can get rid of the so we don't have any parentheses. Do we have like terms? Yes. What are my like terms? 9x and 6x. Are they on the same side or different sides? Same side. So let's just combine them. What is 9x minus 6x? 3x. Then we have plus 15 equals negative 12. Now, looking at these, solving for the variable of 3x, what's the constant on the same side? 15. So how do I move a plus 15? Subtract the 15. Good. And what's a negative 12 minus 15? Negative 27 equals 3x. And 15 minus 15? 0. Now, 3 is a coefficient. So how do I get rid of the coefficient of 3? Divide by 3. So x would equal, and what's negative 27 divided by 3? Negative 9. Good. And we should always check these, right? Hopefully you guys are checking with either a calculator or writing it down. Fine. Oh, sorry. Okay. Let's look at number 2. So number 2 here, do we have any parentheses? Nope, so we're good there, okay? So then I need to get rid of, or I need to combine like terms, and are these like terms on the same side or different sides? Same side, so we're just gonna combine them. What's a negative 2x minus 10x? Negative 12x, yep, plus 12 equals 18. All right, solving for this 12x, what's on the same side as that negative 12x? The plus 12, so how do I move the plus 12 over? Subtract it. So I have negative 12x. 12 minus 12 is 0. And what's 18 minus 12? Now, what's the coefficient of x? Negative 12. So how do I get rid of negative 12? Divide by negative 12. Good. And the reason why we have to divide by that negative, because the negative divided by the negative would give me a positive 1x, which is what we want. Now, can I divide 6 by negative 12? No. No, we can't. We could divide 12 by 6, but we can't divide 6 by negative 12. But what can we do with this fraction? We can simplify it, okay? I do not want decimals, so no decimals. That's every math teacher. We're not taking decimals. Okay? So what does 6 over negative 12 simplify to? Negative 1/2. And where you put the negative, does it matter? No, I tend to always put it in the front or at the top, okay? So negative 1/2. No decimals. Make a note that you guys will not give me decimal answers, okay? Make a note. Okay. All right, let's look at number 6. Okay. Now, do we have parentheses here? Yeah, so how would I remove the parentheses? Distribute, and how do I distribute? I multiply what? 2 to everything inside the parenthesis. Do I take the 2 times the 3? No, because it is not inside that parenthesis, right? So what's 2 times x? 2x. 2 times negative 1? 2. Plus 3 equals negative 8. All right, next step would be combine like terms. Do we have like terms on the same side? Yes, what? Negative 2 and a positive 3. So what is negative 2 plus 3? 1. Is it positive or negative 1? Positive, so I put a plus sign there. Okay. Now, solving for this x, what's the constant on the same side? Plus 1, so how would I move the plus 1? Subtract it. So I have 2x, because 1 minus 1 is 0. What's a negative 8 minus 1? Negative 9. And then how do I get rid of that 2? Divide by 2, that coefficient. Now, can I divide negative 9 by 2? No. So we're just going to leave it as negative 9 over 2. Do you need to turn that to a mixed number? No, leave it improper. It's actually easier to check when it's improper, to be honest. Okay? Now, no decimals. Again, negative 4.5, I do not want. Okay, if you put it to negative 4.5, that's okay. But I like it better as negative 9 over 2. Okay, always simplify it though. Okay, any questions so far? All right, go ahead and try number 3. Jordan, Amelia, Catherine, Alyssa, Supriya, you guys doing okay up over there? Great, thank you. All right, so what would my first step be here? Good. Distribute the 3. Yep, 3 times x, 3x, and 3 times 1, 3, plus 6 equals negative 9. Now, do we have like terms? Yes, and what are my like terms? 3 and 6, and they're on the same side, so I'm just going to combine them. Yep, so 3 plus 6 is 9 equals negative 9. All right, now what would be the next step? Subtract the 9, because that's the constant on the same side, and I'd get 3x, 9 minus 9 is 0, equals negative 18. And then how do I get rid of the coefficient of 3? Divide by 3. So x would equal negative 6. Good. Any questions with that one? Now, some people, if they want, instead of combining the 3 and the 6 there, they could subtract the 6 to the other side. They could subtract the 3 to the other side. It doesn't matter. I like combining them just because I feel like it's one less step. Okay? But it doesn't matter. All right, number 7. Go ahead and start that one for me. Number 7. So what are you guys working on right now? What would be your first step? Distribute. Good. And I'm distributing 5 and a positive 2. Great. I'll let you guys do that. Throwing pencil. So what did you guys get when you took 5 times 3 and 5 times negative x? Good. 15 minus 5x. When I distributed a positive 2, I would get positive 6. Great. All right. Now, we have a lot of like terms, don't we? We have a 15 and 6. And then we also have a negative 5x and a negative 2x. And since they're on the same side, we just combine them, right? What is 15 plus 6? 21. What is a negative 5x and a negative 2x? Negative 7x. Good. Equals 14. Now, you can switch that order and you can have had negative 7x plus 21. It doesn't matter in that sense. Okay. Now, solving for this negative 7x, how do I move that 21 over? Subtract it because it is positive 21. So 21 minus 21 is 0, and I'm left with negative 7x. 14 minus 21, negative 7. And then how do I get rid of this coefficient with x? Divide by what? Negative 7. So x would equal 1. Perfect. All right. All right. And then number 4. Number 4 is set up different, isn't it? I'm going to write it over here for a second. Now in this one, we can either look at it 2 ways. We can look at it as one fraction here, or don't you guys remember where it was w over 9 minus 5 over 9 equals 2? How we wrote that before? Now, do you guys like dealing with fractions? No. So this way is actually the easiest way to do. Because as one whole fraction, we can get rid of this division symbol. And how do I get rid of that division symbol? Multiply by 9, right? And 9 is the same thing as 9 over what? 1, right? So could I cross out these 9s? Cross simplify? Yeah. And then I would just left with w minus 5 equals 2 times 9 is 18, right? And then how would I solve for w? Add 5. And w would equal 23. And there you go. Here, you would have to add 5 over 9. And then you got to get a common denominator and then multiply by the 9, right? I don't want to find common denominator. So if you see an entire fraction, you just multiply by that denominator. Okay? All right, any questions with 3.3, solving multi-step? Is all doing good with that? Everyone at home doing good still? Great. If you guys do have questions on there, don't hesitate to pop up, or I do have my other computer screen up so I can see. You can always type a question too. Okay. All right. All right, 3.5, okay, is a lot like 3.3, but now instead of just having those like terms on the same side, we're going to put them actually on the different side. So again, if I want to move it from one side to the other, I'm going to add or subtract it, always doing its opposite, right? Always doing its opposite. All right, so we always still ask ourselves the same questions. Do we have any parentheses to get rid of? Nope. So now we look at, do we have like terms? Yeah, I have the negative 4x and the negative 9x. So to combine those, I have to move it completely to the other side. And we always like the variables on the left side, so I'm going to just always move everything to the left side to make it easy. Okay, so if I'm looking at this negative 9x, what's the opposite of negative 9? Positive 9, right? So I'm going to add that 9x to the other side, because they're on different sides of the equal sign. Okay, so we have the 10 to bring down. What's a negative 4x plus 9x? A positive 5x. A negative 9x plus 9x is 0, and I'm left with a positive 2. Now we're back to our normal two-step equation, right? So what's on the same side as the x? 10, so how do I move a 10 over? 10. So we have 5x equals negative 8. And then how do I get rid of that 5? Divide by 5. And can I divide negative 8 by 5? No, so we leave it as negative 8 over 5. And there you go. Okay. All right, D. What are we going to do first here? Distribute. Perfect. Yep. So we're going to distribute. The first one's easy to distribute. What's 3 times 3? 9x. And what's 3 times negative 4? Now, when we're multiplying by a fraction, remember, 32x is the same thing as 32 over 1 and 56 over 1, right? And how do we multiply fractions? Just straight across, right? And if I take 1 times all these numbers, it's the same, right? And when I take 4 times everything, it's going to be 4 on the bottom, right? So when I look at this, 1 times 32x is just 32x over 4 times 1 is 4. So really, what's 32 over 4? Division, right? So really, when we multiply by a fourth, we're just dividing by 4. So what's a fourth of 32? 8x. And then when we take a 4 times 56, I'm just taking 56 and dividing by 4. And what do we get? 14. Okay, right, 56 divided by 4. 4 goes into 5. 1 with the remainder of 1, bring down the 6, and 4 goes into 16. 4 times. All right, now we have like terms, right? Are these like terms on the same side or different sides? Different, right? So I want to move the left, right to the left. So how do I move 8x over? Subtract it, yeah. So what's 9x minus 8x? X, because it's 1x and 1 is x. Okay, bring down the minus 12. 8x minus 8x, is that 0? Yep, and then bring down the 14. All right, now solving for the x, how do I move the constant of minus 12 over? Add 12. And so x is equal to 26. Good. All right, let's look at B. Negative 2x equals 3x plus 10. Okay. Now, we don't have parentheses, but we do have like terms, right? And are these like terms on same sides or different sides? Different sides. So we need to move the 3x over to the negative 2x. Okay. What's 3? How would I move a positive 3x over? Subtract it. And what's negative 2x minus 3x? Negative 5x. 3x minus 3x is 0, and I'm left with a plus 10. And then how do I get rid of the coefficient of negative 5? Divide by negative 5. So x is negative 2. Don't lose negatives, guys. Okay? Don't lose negatives. Now, one thing I want to show you on this, if for some reason, say this was like 3x plus 10 equals negative 2x, normally I move the left or the right to the left, but because the 2x is the only thing on the right side, I would actually move 3x over in that direction, okay? Because if I move the 2x, what would be left on this side? A 0, and you're actually adding a step to it, which is okay, but you guys like the least amount of work, right? So that's why I would move the 3x to the other side in that sense. Okay? All right, what about E? What are we going to start with in E? The distributive property, yeah. Now, because it's 1 over 2, that means we could just divide by 2, right? Because 1 times 6, and then you're over 2, it's just division, right? So what's a half of 6? 3h. What's a half of 4? 2, so minus 2 equals negative 5h plus 1. All right. Now we have like terms, and are these like terms on the same side or different sides? Different sides. So let's move our 5x over. So how do I move a negative 5h? Sorry, not x. Negative 5h over. Add, right? And what's 3h plus 5h? 8h. Minus 2 equals, what's negative 5h plus 5h? 0, and I'm left with 1. Solving for this 8h, how do I move the minus 2 over? Add it. Good. So 8h equals 1 plus 2 is 3. And then how do I get rid of that 8? Divide by 8. So h would equal 3 over 8, 3/8. Sorry, that's an ugly 3. Okay. All right. Any questions so far? All right. C. What would be my first step in C? Distribute. Go ahead and distribute for me. Everyone distribute. What am I distributing in C? I would distribute the 2, right? So what is 2 times 3x? 6x. And 2 times a negative 4? Negative 8. Negative 8, yeah. All right, now let's look at our like terms. We have lots of like terms here, right? What do you notice about 3x and negative 4x? You're on the same side, so we're just going to combine them. What is 3x minus 4x? Negative 1x plus 2 equals 6x minus 8. Okay? Always, always, when they're on the same side, you just combine them as it says. Okay? Now, these x's are now on different sides. So how do I move this 6x over to the negative 1x? Subtract it. So what is negative 1x minus 6x? Negative 7x, good. Plus 2 equals negative 8. Right. Now what would I do? Subtract the 2, yep. So we get negative 7x equals negative 10. And then how do I get rid of the coefficient of negative 7? Divide by negative 7, good. So 2 negatives make a positive. And can I simplify 10 over 7? No, so we're going to leave it as 10 over 7. Go ahead. You okay, Audrey? Okay. Any questions with that one? Let's go ahead and work on F. I'm going to work on F here. You awake, Kylie? I knew you were done already. You look like you were zoning for a second. We have lots of like terms here, right? What do you notice about the -2 and -4? They're on the same side, so we're just going to find them. What's -2 minus 4? -6. The plus 3x. What do you notice about the 5x and 2x? They're on the same side, so it's 5x minus 2x. 3x positive. Good. All right, now what do you notice about these 3x's? They are the same. So how would I move this 3x over to that 3x? Subtract it. -6. What's 3x minus 3x? 0. Equals 10. What's 3x minus 3x? 0. We don't have any variables to solve for, do we? And -6 does not equal 10. So what do you think? Okay, she went ahead and added the 6 and got what? 0 equals 16. Does that equal? No. No. So we actually have these special cases. Go ahead and flip over your paper. That's what we're going to talk about. All right. We have some special solutions that happen, okay? We have things called infinitely many solutions, and we have no solution, okay? Infinitely many solutions means no matter what value of x I plug in, it's going to make the left side equal the right side every single time. Yeah. If we're talking about solutions, we always want to say infinitely many. But yeah, in the sense, Liam, it does mean all real numbers because every value you plug in is going to be the same. Yeah. Okay. And then no solution means that no matter what value you plug in for x, the left side will never, ever, ever equal the right. Okay. Now, when it's one solution, that's what we were doing all except for that last problem. Every single other one had one solution because we only found one value that would make the left side equal the right side. Okay. Now, these two special cases happen when our variables cancel out. Where you had 0x, and 0x is always 0, so it canceled completely out. Okay, did you see how we took 3x minus 3x was 0? It's gone. Okay, now, after we look at that, we look at our constants. Okay, if the constants equal each other, then it's going to be infinitely many. If the constants, so the constants will not equal each other. There you go. I didn't know how I worded it, sorry. So then if the constants do not equal each other, then it's no solution. Okay, so if we look back at the following problem, we had -6 equal 10 or 0 equal 16. Is that true? Does -6 equal 10? No. Does 0 equal 16? No. So what do you think that last one would have been? It'd be no solution. And what that means again, no value that I plug in for x would ever let the left side equal the right side. Okay? So let's go ahead and do a couple of these. Okay. All right, so what would you do in example 2, part A? What would be my first step to solve that? Oh, I'm sorry, Peter. Distribute, thank you, yes. So 3 times 5x, 15x, good. 3 times 2, 6. All right. Now, we have these like terms, right? Now, normally we'd move this 15 over here, right? But because this 15x on this side is by itself, we're going to move this one over here. So how do I move 15x over? Subtract it. What's 15x minus 15x? 0, so it's gone, right? Equals 6. 15x minus 15x is 0, it's gone. So since there's nothing there, it's always just 0, right? Okay. So we have no variable. So we ask ourselves, does 6 equal 0? No. So is this infinitely many solutions or no solution? No solution. No solution. So there's no value that would make the left side equal the right side, ever. Okay? All right. C. What would be my first step there? Distribute. And what's negative 2 times 3y? Negative 6y. What's negative 2 times 1? 2. Negative 2, yeah, minus 2. Now, real quick, what do you guys notice about these y's? They're different, right? And they're on different sides. So guess what? You're going to have a solution. Anytime that coefficient and variable is different, you're going to have a solution, okay? So that's a key thing to notice about that, okay? So let's go ahead and move this 8y over. So how would I move that 8y over? I would add it because it's negative, right? What is negative 6y plus 8y? Try that again. Negative 6 plus 8? Positive 2, right? What's negative 8y plus 8y? 0. And then I'm left with negative 2. All right. Solving for this 2y, how do I move a minus 2 over? I would add 2, yeah. So I have 2y equals 0. Okay, we still have a y, so we still have an answer, right? So how do I solve for y here? Divide by 2, so y would equal, what's 0 divided by anything? 0. And you can also think here, 2 times what gives me to 0? 0. That's why y will be 0 in this case. Okay, so we didn't have a special case in that one, did we? No. Oh, all right. What about B? What did I do here? Distribute. 4 times 1? 4. 4 times negative p? Negative 4p. All right, looking at these p's, what do you guys notice about these p's? They're the exact same, so what's going to happen to them? They're going to cancel out, okay? That's a good indicator you guys can tell. So how do I move that negative 4, bless you, that negative 4p over? Add it. So as they said, these cancel out. Now, does 4 equal 4? Yes, so what's my answer? Infinitely many, and I don't care if you label it as IMS for infinitely many solutions. All right, and then D. What would be my first step in D? Distribute. Now, distributing this one's a little bit more challenging, right? Now, because you're multiplying, we can either divide first, then multiply, or we can multiply, then divide, okay? Because it's that fraction, right? Do you guys want to multiply first or divide first? Divide, okay. 6 divided by 6 is 1. 1 times the numerator, so 1 times 5 is 5, so 5m. Now you could have done 5 times 6 is 30, and what's 30 divided by 6? 5, okay? Second one, 12 divided by 6 is 2, and 2 times 5? So minus 10. Again, you could have done 5 times 12 divided by 6, okay? Now, what do you notice about your m's? We have some that are on the same side and some that are on different. So let's combine the ones that are on the same side. What's 6m minus m? 5m. Equals 5m. Now, if someone said, yes, my m's are now the same, so what's going to happen to these m's? They're going to cancel out because we would subtract the 5m, right? And what would I be left with if I subtract those 5m's? 0 equals negative 10. And is that true? No. So my answer would be no solution. Okay. Any questions with that? No. Okay, makes sense? Okay. Any questions at home you might have?